Hello and welcome, all you beautiful souls. It's Sapphire. I hope you're having an amazing day or an amazing evening, whatever time you happen to be tuning in. And thank you so much for tuning in. Namaste. Um, First off, rest in peace, Ozzy. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. I know I've said it in a couple of videos recently, but just wanted to say it again. He lived from 1948 to July of 2025. Please stay tuned later in this video for a brief breakdown on the Sidereal Astrology of Ozzy Osbourne's life. Now, first, before I get into the substance of this video, I want to wish you all a very happy, belated new moon in Virgo. That's my moon sign according to Sidereal Astrology, as I will get into in the video. I recently uploaded a video on this astrological happening, so please be sure to check that out for more on this new moon in Virgo. I hope it was as healing, shifting, activating, uplifting, and empowering for all of you as it was for me. I hope, like me, you all set powerful intentions and made a plan of action to act on them and manifest them into your reality. I wish you all so much love, healing, abundance, success, and prosperity going forward as you go forward to the rest of this year and into the rest of your life. May it be. Blessed be, everyone. So in this video, we're going to be learning about the 13 house system of astrology, or Sidereal Astrology. And this system of astrology is really blowing my mind. Sidereal Astrology, rather than conventional tropical or synodic astrology, it is an unconventional astrological system, but it has ancient roots. Some of it remains largely the same and isn't completely earth-shattering from the tropical, traditional Western astrology point of view. But some of what I've learned is a big change from the conventional 12-house system, but everything just makes so much more sense, both intuitively and logically, following astrology and the movements of the planets, the moon, the sun, and other celestial bodies through the different constellations. Going forward, I plan to learn a lot more about sidereal astrology and explore it and do readings using it and share my insights with you all. And most of my readings in the future probably will be sidereal astrology, not tropical astrology, just because it makes so much more sense to me and it really resonates. And I hope as I dive into it, you can see how much sense it really does make. Before I get into it, please take a moment to like this video if you enjoy this content. Comment down below your thoughts and feelings. Subscribe and turn on the bell if this content resonates with you and you would love to see more like it. And even donate if you feel called. Namaste. Thank you so much. I love you, each and every one of you. Thank you. So let's get into it. What is sidereal astrology? How does it work? And what are the signs? And why does it actually make a whole lot more sense than traditional tropical Western astrology, at least to me personally? Also, am I a demure, neurotic princess or a formerly cowardly lioness? Or is it more complicated than that? Also, I'm going to explain that I've largely discarded use of the tropical astrology system in my personal life in favor of sidereal astrology. And according to sidereal astrology, I am a Leo sun sign, Virgo moon sign with some influence from Libra, a Leo ascendant / rising, Cancer Chiron, Gemini south node, and Sagittarius north node, Taurus midheaven, and Capricorn Saturn. I'm going to dive into all that and explain what all that means, so don't worry. It's just an intro. So what is sidereal astrology? First off, what does sidereal mean? Sidereal means of or relating to or concerned with the stars or constellations, aka stellar. It also means measured or determined by the apparent daily motion of the stars, sidereal time. Tropical astrology, on the other hand, is the most popular form of astrology used in the West. If you are from the West, that is likely what you are familiar with. It is the most common astrology you will find online. Sidereal astrology is most popular in the East, particularly India. Vedic or Hindu astrology uses a form of it. It is not as common online or in the West, and you may have only heard of it recently. So, what is the key difference between tropical and sidereal astrology? Tropical and sidereal astrology are two different ways of determining your astrological signs and the influences that you're going through and that the world and the collective is going through at any given time. So there are two different zodiac systems, as I've said. There's tropical. Tropical astrology uses the seasons of the earth for its zodiac system. Tropical starts the zodiac wheel at the vernal point, that's in the spring. This is the point where the sun is during the spring equinox in the northern hemisphere. All planets that pass over the vernal point enter Aries, the first sign in zodiac, and then so on and so forth. Sidereal astrology uses the visible sky for its zodiac system. Aries begins where it is visible. Since this is subjective, there are many different forms of sidereal astrology, but all forms of sidereal astrology reference the sky. So I hope you can see why sidereal astrology already makes a lot more sense, at least to me personally. It's because it actually follows the real apparent motions of the stars and the planets crossing through the different zodiac signs, the different constellations. So it follows where they actually are at any given time, whether that time be your birth date, any given date in the past, or right now. It's following where the stars and the planets were at that time or where they are now. It's not following, a static system that was established roughly 5,000 years ago. I may be exaggerating the date there a little bit, but it doesn't follow this static system of astrology that was formulated thousands of years ago, and where those constellations were during the given season through the year, like Aries, for instance, in around the spring equinox. It doesn't follow that static system that hasn't changed at all. It's following the patterns where the patterns of the stars, the planets, the other celestial bodies as they cross the astrological constellations in real time. And that's why things have kind of shifted in those thousands of years. So that's why, for instance, right now, according to sidereal astrology, is the time of Leo, not Virgo. Virgo will be coming soon in roughly a month. So we'll get more into that, but I know it's gonna, it's kind of a shock to the system, and it was a shock to the system for me when I found out about this. But, it's gonna shake things up, but hopefully as you dive into it more and more, you'll see it actually makes a lot of sense. First off, because it follows where these celestial bodies are at any given time, you know, but also because nobody is one thing anyways. For instance, you know, with me, I'm a sun sign of Leo and rising sign of Leo, but I'm a moon sign of Virgo slash Libra. Like, there's definitely a strong Libra influence in my moon sign as well, but because it's kind of on the cusp. But my point is, nobody is just one thing, and that's what a lot of astrologers, the not so good ones, no offense, the not so good ones who only focus on that sun sign, are missing. Nobody is just that one sign. But, you know, any astrologer worth their salt is going to know that nobody is just the one thing. They have the moon sign, they have, you know, the Saturn sign, the north node, south node, all that stuff, and the rising sign. But with Sidereal Astrology, it's more than just that. It's also following the apparent motions of these celestial bodies in our night sky. It seems to correspond more so with the energies that are actually influencing us at any given time as well. So the 13 signs or houses of Sidereal Astrology are the 12 astrological signs that you may be familiar with from tropical astrology: Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, but with a 13th sign, Ophiuchus, moving across the sky between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So, what is this missing linked 13th sign, Ophiuchus? What is Ophiuchus? Ophiuchus is the constellation that lies in the southern sky or on the celestial equator. Its name means the serpent bearer in Greek. It is pronounced Ophiuchus. The constellation is associated with the figure of Asclepius, the famous healer in Greek mythology. It was one of the constellations first cataloged by the Greek astronomer Ptolemy in the 2nd century. Sometimes it may be known by its Latin name, Serpentarius. Ophiuchus is generally depicted as a man holding a snake, represented by the neighboring constellation Serpens, which is divided into its two parts: Serpens caput, the snake's head, and Serpens cauda, the snake's tail. The snake is usually depicted coiled around his waist, Asclepius's waist. The constellation Ophiuchus is often associated with the Greek mythological figure Asclepius. Asclepius was a renowned healer, known for his ability to bring the dead back to life. This power alarmed Hades, aka Pluto, the god of the underworld, who persuaded Zeus, also known as Jupiter, to kill Asclepius with a thunderbolt. Zeus then placed Asclepius in the sky as the constellation Ophiuchus. The association of Ophiuchus with Asclepius brings themes of healing, transformation, and rebirth into its astrological significance. Those with strong Ophiuchus influence in their chart may find themselves drawn to the medical field or possess a natural ability to help others heal. It's also worth noting that the constellation's depiction as a man holding a serpent further reinforces these themes. The serpent is a universal symbol of transformation and rebirth, mirroring Asclepius's ability to restore life. Healer and transformer, Ophiuchus carries the energy of healing, not just in physical terms, but also in spiritual and emotional realms. This sign is often associated with individuals who have healing abilities or are drawn to professions in medicine, therapy, or holistic health. This attribute also extends on a metaphorical level, where Ophiuchus signifies deep emotional and spiritual healing, guiding individuals through transformative experiences. Seeker of knowledge and truth. The archetype of Ophiuchus is often seen as a seeker, one who is always in pursuit of knowledge and truth. This aligns with the story of Asclepius, who was a relentless pursuer of medical knowledge. Astrologically, this translates to a personality that is intellectually curious, always searching for the deeper meaning in life, and often engaged in philosophical or existential exploration. Bridge between life and death. Drawing from the myth of Asclepius, Ophiuchus embodies the thin line between life and death. This aspect makes Ophiuchus a sign of profound transformation and change, often associated with significant life transitions, rebirth, and deep psychological change. This is also seen by how Ophiuchus makes up the same part of the sky as the galactic center. The galactic center is a highly energetic point in the sky that, when planets pass over, go through a death and rebirth. Connection to the serpent symbolism. The serpent is a powerful symbol across many cultures, often representing wisdom, power, and rebirth. In the context of Ophiuchus, the serpent symbolizes the potential for renewal, the shedding of old skins, and the emergence of new perspectives and realities. It signifies wisdom that is both ancient and continually renewing itself, which is reflected in the personalities of those who resonate with Ophiuchus. Balancing Scorpio and Sagittarius energies. Ophiuchus sits between the Scorpio and Sagittarius constellations in the zodiac, and astrologically it is thought to blend the qualities of those two signs. From Scorpio, Ophiuchus inherits its depth, intensity, and a passion for exploring the unknown. From Sagittarius, it borrows the love of freedom, optimism, and the quest for higher knowledge. This makes Ophiuchus a complex and multifaceted and intellectual sign, embodying the mysteries of Scorpio and the wisdom of Sagittarius. So the date range of Ophiuchus is from November 30th to December 17th. It is considered a fire sign. The ruling planet is Jupiter. Lucky color is purple. One of my favorite colors, but I'm not an Ophiuchus, but that's just cool. Lucky flowers, pansies, calamus, black roses. Personality, capricious, hesitant, calm, thoughtful, cold-blooded. Best compatibility, Leo and Gemini. Ophiuchus represents the courage and perseverance of fighting against death, and people under the Ophiuchus sign can hardly be defeated. Being loyal and steady, they have a strict standard on good versus evil. In addition, Ophiuchus people have their own ideal and goal and always stride forward to face challenges head on with strong motivation. Since Ophiuchus is a constellation consisting of two, Ophiuchus and Serpens, people under this sign often have an entangled character. Just like the war between Ophiuchus and Serpens, sometimes they are rational and sometimes they are sensitive, sometimes philanthropic and sometimes indifferent. That's why they often wonder whether they are like Scorpions or Sagittarians. No matter what they are like, however, they cannot deny the trait of the other half. Located between Scorpio and Sagittarius, Ophiuchus has the advantages and disadvantages of both. Since a star of Ophiuchus at the foot belongs to the tail of Scorpio, the Scorpion character and temperament dominate Ophiuchus people. So they are calm, thinking, aggressive, shrewd, attentive, cold, and mysterious. At the same time, they are similar with the Sagittarius people in terms of passion, insight, and making unremitting efforts towards their goals. When it comes to love, Ophiuchus people inherit the characteristics of both zodiac signs, and they cherish the people they love very much. Generally, they are very passionate for love and have common points with people with under fire, earth, air, and water signs, hoping to find true love from them. Different from the Sagittarius people, they like the clingy lover, um, but they may put an end to the relationship quickly once they find the problems, which is similar with the Sagittarians, cutting the knots quickly. Despite the nature of the good tolerance that the Ophiuchus have, they may also feel sad in the dark corner due to the inherent Scorpion character. In addition, Ophiuchus people don't like to cause trouble to others, but get used to bearing the pain independently. In fact, they just want others to see their sunny side. But by doing this, they may make others mistakenly think that they are malicious. When they have something to show off, they won't tell you, like the low-key Scorpions. When you find it, however, they will be very proud, like the high-key Sagittarians. The Ophiuchus people are so complicated that they are unpredictable and you can hardly tell their next action. The more you contact with them, the more mysterious you will feel that they are. You'll not feel the mystery at the very beginning, but after learning it, you will find it is nothing but as naive as a people. It is worth mentioning that Ophiuchus people are very similar with Scorpions when it comes to love, relationships, and they can hardly forget the past. They are very special in bearing grudges. They can remember any gratitude or resentment. Thus, they have complicated feelings in recalling a person as they remember the other's goodness but cannot let go of the hatred. In summary, Ophiuchus people are very complicated and changeable despite their good intentions. Now let's shift gears and apply Sidereal Astrology to my own life. So I'm going to describe the traits of both the Virgo sign and the Leo sign and how well they describe me both in the past and in the present. So who am I? Am I a demure, neurotic princess or a cowardly lioness? My whole life up until a few months ago, I thought I was a Virgo. It is, after all, my sun sign according to tropical Western astrology. And I always just assumed this was right. It seemed to explain a lot about who I am and my personality. Virgos, after all, are known for being neurotic perfectionists, but also shy and demure. So the common traits of a Virgo are that they are known for being ready to work hard. They are known for their service element, for being very giving. They are also known for being creative, reliable, patient, kind, critically thinking, faithful, responsible, modest, have an excellent memory, being helpful, calm, and having an analytical mind, but also highly critical, including self-critical, stubborn, and picky. They're also known for always being worried, trying to please everyone, for being perfectionistic, excessive self-reliance, being judgmental, easily annoyed, being conservative, not necessarily with values, although that can be the case, but being like timid and conservative in their demeanor and not being extroverted and exuberant, like that kind of attitude, but being the opposite of that. They're also known for being slow and kind of taking their time and going with the flow of things. Most of these traits describe me well, especially in the past, for being very shy and nerdy, that version of myself before I broke out of my shell. A few of them absolutely do not, but most of them are in fact accurate to my experience, at least in the past, but even still now, because, well, that's my shadow side according to Sidereal Astrology. But much to my initial shock and surprise, it turns out that I'm actually a Leo, according to Sidereal Astrology. I initially thought That can't be right. My whole life I thought being Virgo had described me nearly to a T. And being bold, charismatic, a leader type of person like Leos are typically thought of simply didn't seem to fit me. So the common traits of a Leo are being strong, vivacious, filled with vitality, leadership, known for leadership, known for being protective, creative, ambitious, generous, having a good sense of humor, passionate, determined, friendly, fair, and having fairness as a strong core value of theirs, optimistic and honest, while also having some negative traits such as the constant desire for recognition, being self-confident or cocky, an easy target, due to their ego being an easy target, being arrogant, stubborn, a hate of being criticized, inflexible, sometimes lazy, prideful, jealous, and overly competitive. So, was I actually a cowardly lioness who just hadn't realized her true power that lay within all this time? Well, I talked to an astrologer a few months back who specializes in sidereal astrology, and she did a breakdown of my chart. She said, so you do have big Leo energy, but it is expressed in a more mellow way, which is the synopsis of this. Let me break it down. She said that for one, my big three is Leo Sun, Leo Ascendant or Rising, and Virgo Moon, but it's on the cusp of Libra as well. Your Mercury is pretty conjunct with your Jupiter, so you're not a timid communicator, not even in the least. Venus in Leo retrograde indicates you need frequent reassurance, and it may denote a lack of confidence when it comes to love. And she said that my major houses are as follows. My first house being Cancer, so the role of being a mother or caretaker or nurturer is actually a big one for me. And yes, I do want to have children someday. I want to have a pet someday, and I miss that feeling of being in care for another, like pet, for example. And I do want to one day have kids, but for now, that's very much on the back burner just because financial reasons in life. And also, I don't want being a mother or caretaker to be like the focus of my life either. I don't want to, one day become a stay-at-home mom, okay? I want to have a career, whether that, be in vegetation management for PG&E or for a major utility, whether that be vegetation management for a major utility, which I don't necessarily vibe with, but it's paying the bills, or YouTube. Now, she said my other houses, my second house is Leo. That's the tendency and having the second house in Leo kind of reveals a tendency to spend more than save and prefers to make money fast. Kind of true, but I'm learning the hard way to be much more responsible in that regard. The third house, Virgo, careful but articulate communicator. I think that describes me pretty well. Fourth house, Libra. Grew up in a household that was social and emphasized fairness. Yes and no. So we'll leave it at that. The fifth house, the 5th/6th house of Scorpio and Ophiuchus, you enjoy subjects related to mysteries, the occult, spirituality, and yes, that's absolutely true. 6th house, beware of overindulgence and watch out for issues related to thighs and hips, stomach, feet too. And yeah, I have definitely digestive issues, so there is that. 7th house, your ideal relationship. 8th house, unconventional and progressive views about death and spirituality. I think I do, at least compared to um, the majority, the mainstream, and the Western world. Ninth house, strong beliefs in occult topics and belief in the supernatural. And again, yes. 10th house, entrepreneur or CEO or manager type of careers where you're allowed to take charge or call the shots. And yeah, even in my job that I currently have, being in vegetation management for a major utility, I'm kind of in a middle manager type of role. So, I'm getting told what to do by upper management, but also calling the shots for, for the inspectors that I manage as well. But as far as my goals with YouTube and, being kind of a life coach, if you will, that definitely lines up with what it's saying about my 10th house as well. Of course, in a nurturing, reassuring type of way, not in a demanding, dictatorial type of way, just in a very loving, caring, supporting type of way. 11th house, my hope is to enjoy the beauty of life, prefers friends who are down to earth and dependable and who you can eat at the table with. Absolutely agree with that take right there. So getting more into it, I also did an astrological chart online on Cafe Astrology, and here's what Cafe Astrology had to say about my chart. The sidereal chart, not the tropical or synodic chart. So when people ask you, what's your sign? Leo would be your answer. Technically, though, it's your sun sign that is Leo, and you're made up of many signs. There's an unmistakable regal air to solar Leos. These are dignified, even noble folk. Leos have a reputation for being conceited, but think again. Leos do feel important, but this often takes the form of wanting to change the world in a positive way, to make the world a better place. Affection for people motivates Leos, and they often have big dreams and plans to make people happy. Seeing that off, that actually really fits me quite well. Leos are usually hardworking. After all, they are attracted to the good things in life, and they know they have to work hard to get them. It is sometimes difficult to imagine Leos as go-getters if you happen to catch them in one of their languid moods. These people can sleep in, laze around, and luxuriate for long periods of time. However, when they do get to work, they do it with intensity and determination. In this way, they are not unlike their symbol, the lion. Because, the lions are well known for sleeping a lot, especially during the day. But in those twilight and nighttime hours, they are on the hunt, right? And yeah, that part I feel like absolutely explains me quite well too, because I can alternate between, feeling lazy and not particularly motivated, but also, on the other hand, feeling really determined to get out there and get going, making things happen when I can wrest myself from that lazy state. And it's a struggle. It's a tug of war, a balance between the two. At least it can be that way sometimes. So it turns out I also have my ascendant or rising sign in Leo. The ascendant defines in part the first impression we make on others in a personal rather than professional sense. It represents our physical appearance, our physical bodies, and our overall health and the body ego. It can be the mask or costume we wear to greet the world. It reveals our nature and personal defense mechanisms that we use to adapt to and cope with our environments. The ascendant also shows our first impressions to the world around us and our expectations of the same, whether we are naturally hesitant or enthusiastic. For example, how we begin new projects and our attitude towards new experiences come under the rule of the ascendant. Leo rising people cannot help but be noticed. They radiate a unique energy and magnetism that gets others' attentions. Sometimes it's because they are loud people who pay a lot of attention to their personal appearance and image. Other times it's due to their regal manner that simply demands interest from others. You are very self-aware and body conscious. You are acutely aware of others and how you come across. In fact, you are especially aware of your personal backdrop. You consider what the people you're with and the environments you're in do to your own image. Often Leo rising natives feel as if they are on the stage, even in the privacy of their own homes. You are given to rash decisions, temper tantrums, and excesses. However, you have plenty of staying power and drive, and your idealism keeps you from getting into too much trouble. The desire to oversee the goings on in your life and in your circle can sometimes amount to bossiness or the appearance of bossiness. If this wish doesn't go too far, however, it's really about making the people you love, making sure that they are all right. Many Leo rising people are managers, either professional or by character. And yeah, there's some truth to this. I feel like this Leo ascendant analysis, it's kind of half true, half not true, but I feel like I'm more coming into that, more coming into my power as days go by, right? It definitely doesn't describe how I used to be in the past, but as far as how I am now, it's kind of half and half, right? But I'm definitely moving in that direction. So Cafe Astrology kind of had a little bit of a difference of analysis compared to the astrologer who specialized in Sidereal Astrology, what her analysis was of me. So she's now my friend on Instagram, by the way, but yeah, like her analysis as far as my moon sign was a little bit different than what Cafe Astrology had to say. Cafe Astrology lent into that Libra energy more versus what my friend on Instagram said. And she's saying, no, you're definitely a moon sign, like a Virgo moon. And I absolutely agree with that take. But Cafe Astrology says moon in Libra, and here's what it says. Moon in Libra people often have a strong need for partnership. Without someone to share their lives with, they may feel utterly incomplete. This is why many people with this position get involved in marriages or living together arrangements quite young. There's definitely some truth to that, right? That's my reality right now. With your moon in Libra, because your drive for harmony, peace, and sharing is so powerful, you are apt to do a lot of conceding. You are sympathetic and concerned for others, enjoy socializing, and revel in good debate. There's some truth to that. And I mean, again, my moon is on the cusp of Virgo and Libra, so I can definitely see how both have elements of the truth for me. As a lunar Libra, you may very well feel safe and secure when you are in a partnership or have someone special to share your time, energy, thoughts, and love with. You might often seem to need to have someone to tag along with you wherever you go, even if it is to the corner store. You find strength and reinforcement in and through others. With maturity, though, you're able to function just fine alone, but you do thoroughly enjoy good company. That really describes me quite well, actually. You can be wonderfully charming, you are very attractive to be around, and you're often given to flirtatiousness. Rarely directively aggressive, you win others' hearts through your gentle and refined nature. And Cafe Astrology had this to say about my North and South node. Your North node is in Sagittarius and your South node is in Gemini. This placement can point to a tendency to frequently overwhelm yourself with information or to become mentally overstimulated to the point of not being able to make effective decisions. Okay, that definitely can be quite true for me from time to time. Some with this position often find themselves bound by logic or so swamped in details that they have trouble tapping into their intuition and miss the big picture. Absolutely, that has been the truth as far as in my past, and that's still something I am dealing with, still some difficulty. And your moon sign is your shadow side, and that is something I'm still working on integrating and healing, but I have made massive strides, especially recently in this regard. But I still have work to do. You know, I am steadily learning to trust my intuition more and more and go with the flow and just let go and just be. You may have many things going on at once and avoid committing to a particular project. You're challenged to learn to trust your inner guide or intuition, first by connecting with it more often through tuning out distractions. This can be the path to uncovering more meaning in your life. I've definitely been doing a lot of that tuning out distractions lately, and I plan to double down with that in the coming weeks. But yeah, in the past, I absolutely had a lot of trouble committing to any particular project, committing to any particular passion or purpose or desire or project. Like, that's something I absolutely struggled with in the past. I kind of went through so many different potential career paths and passion projects and hobbies and all of that. Before finally coming to, yes, vegetation management as a career to pay the bills. That kind of just happened by happenstance, kind of fell into my lap, if you will, back in late 2019, early 2020. I was like, okay, this seems interesting and exciting, and it's a chance to move to a beautiful area that I have been wanting to check out and move to. So I was like, I'll take it. And so it was a chance to start to live independently and on my own. And I was like, heck yeah, I'm gonna do that. And absolutely no regrets in doing that. But it has been a challenge here and a learning lesson as well. But as far as what I actually want to do with the rest of my life, that has been something I've kind of been working out for the past couple of years, right? And I still have this strong desire to help in terms of like conservation biology, ecology, or wildlife rehabilitation, you know, rehabbing wild animals to then release back to the wild. That's something I would love to do as a career to pay the bills, like something that I actually enjoy waking up and going to work every day to do. It just, unfortunately, involves going back to school, getting a lot of schooling again, and you know, just going through all the training, all the hoops, and to inevitably get there. Not saying I don't want to do that, but that's simply not feasible in my life right now. On the other hand, an absolute passion project, something that I incredibly strongly want to do with my life, is what I'm doing right now. Spinning with y'all on YouTube and you know, hopefully enlightening and inspiring you guys with spiritual and motivational messages. As I've mentioned in the past, I want to be a successful YouTuber in the spirituality, magic, mindfulness, motivation, divination, astrology, lifestyle, and beauty spaces. It's a bit of a mouthful, but I absolutely want to just be an incredible force in these areas on YouTube, and going forward, I plan to do that and build up my audience, and you know, have a successful lifestyle brand going along with that, and selling courses, and just hopefully changing millions of people's lives and having a positive and loving impact on millions of people's lives. That is absolutely what I want to do with my life. And I mean, I guess that goes back to my, you know, part of my nature is being a Virgo, but also part of my nature is being a Leo. Leos also have a big heart and love deeply and care deeply for their tribe, right? And then you have the part of me that's Leo that absolutely wants to serve and take care and make a positive difference in the world, right? And that goes back to my, you know, loving, caring nature for animals and wanting to help and heal them and their environment. But that goes along with helping the human world too, and making a positive, powerful change in that arena, and being part, you know, being an instrument in the creation of a new earth. Well, back to this, with the North Node in Sagittarius, you're learning to put your faith in the universe. That is your North Node, what you're moving towards, and that is what I am moving towards. If you rely too heavily on logic, you may miss out on the exciting adventures generated from the thrill and satisfaction of following a hunch or a vision. Allowing yourself to believe in something that doesn't necessarily make sense, but that frees you from mental anxiety and stress, can be a useful exercise. If the challenge is committing yourself to a particular path, interest, or project, the passion of discovery may be missing from your life, and you'll feel more satisfied if you pour yourself into something wholeheartedly from time to time. Keeping in mind that we cannot inspire others to have faith in us when we lack faith in ourselves, you might consider working on building your intuition and trust, which I have definitely been doing in the recent months and weeks. Allowing yourself to act bravely and impulsively sometimes, but freeing yourself from an overly doubting and logical mindset. These might seem to be the right way to finding the inner balance that enriches your life and soul. So I also used a third source for charting my life according to Sidereal Astrology, and that's this other website called MTZ. And here's what MTZ gave me. Ascendant Leo, Sun Leo, Moon Virgo, Mercury Leo, Venus Leo, Mars Virgo, Jupiter Leo, a lot of Leo placements here, and a little bit of Virgo, Saturn in Capricorn, Uranus Sagittarius, Neptune Sagittarius, Pluto Libra, Chiron Cancer, North Node Sagittarius, South Node Gemini, and Midheaven in Taurus. So what does all that mean? As I said, with Sun in Leo, it's kind of gonna be a re-synopsis of that. Your sun sign shows the lens through which you view life. In Leo, the lion, you view your life through the lens of expressiveness, seeing what you're proud of, what energizes you, and what gives you joy. On a fundamental level, you are playful, expressive, and connecting to who and what is close to your heart. Whatever you focus on, you will likely approach it with passion, warm-heartedness, and a humorous nature. This is your great gift, your ability to be playful, express yourself, and in your highest expression, take pride in who and what you love. Others likely see you as a creative, playful, and passionate person, and you likely express yourself in this way. I think that's incredibly true, especially, you know, the person I am coming to be. And MTZ also said that my moon sign is indeed Virgo. Your moon sign shows that you are an emotionally attuned person and emotionally attuned to your inner world and your inner personality. In Virgo, the maiden, you are attuned to refinement, attuned to what requires refinement, fixing, and optimization. On an inner and private level, you are composed, although sometimes insecure about it. And when you feel secure, you are methodically driven and implementing tireless work towards an ideal. You will likely approach your personal and private life with self-discipline, composure, and a highly detailed and analytical nature. This is your natural gift, your ability to be composed, refine things, and when feeling secure, facilitate things for others. Those close to you see you as organized, detailed, and perfection-oriented, and you likely emotionally connect in this way. But being my shadow side, it's something that has been a dysfunctional, an area of dysfunction in my past, and still kind of is to this day. And I'm still trying to work through it, trying to heal and integrate that Virgo nature into a better, higher form. I've definitely made huge leaps and strides there, but like I've said, still needs a little work. Your moon is also close to Libra. You are also emotionally attuned to justness, and I completely agree with that take as well. You will likely also approach your personal life with a moral and ethical perspective. Those close to you likely see you as reciprocating, fair, and impartial. And I feel like that absolutely explains a lot about my nature and explains a lot about my core values as well. Leo Ascendant. The Ascendant shows what personality characteristics life is helping you develop. In Leo, the Lion, life is helping you develop your expressive side to show you who you are, who you love, and your warmth. As time goes on, you will become more and more expressive. Not necessarily because you were born with this energy, but because life has been helping you develop it. The evolution of Leo starts with developing your playfulness and heart-centeredness, and ultimately your self-expression. Leo in its highest expression is proud of what they love and wants to show it and share it with the world. By setting intentions to develop your expressive side, you can develop the characteristic that will be integral to fulfilling your life destiny, self-expression. And zing, like, absolutely, this is, I feel like this is true for, the person I am becoming. And my Sidereal Instagram astrologer also mentioned the following, going back to her synopsis. You may have had past situations where it echoed that need and lack of reassurance. Just as much as you need it externally, you also need it internally with yourself. I feel like that's absolutely true. It's kind of eerie a little bit. This isn't all bad though, because it gives that Leo energy more of a water-like sensitivity to it. So you're able to put others ahead of yourself in relationships with the expectation and hope that the same would be reciprocated. Also with this, you know how to feel the room, so to speak. And she also said Virgo moon is another thing. This also mellows the big Leo energy you have. Your moon sign is how you operate behind closed doors. So with Virgo here, you are or prefer to be more methodical, precise. There's a place for things, even if it's disorganized to others, because for you it is still organized. I feel like that's absolutely true. And I feel like I give off this confident, composed image to the world in many different regards, whether that be YouTube or in my my job. But in private, I have a lot of doubts, unfortunately, that I'm working through and becoming a lot more confident in myself. But it's been a challenge because, behind closed doors, I've been pretty self-critical and even self-doubting. I think that goes to, you know, my moon or shadow side being Virgo. It's been a part of me that's been quite dysfunctional in the past, but something that I'm working on healing and integrating actively. And she also said that I tend to be health conscious, and I like to work towards that. Some truth to that. Hasn't been perfectly true lately, mostly because of money. Can't be a health nut about anything if I don't have the money, but I will. And she also said that I'm a lover of animals, cats and dogs equally, though sometimes they're all definitely leaning on the cat side of things. I'd say, yeah, I agree with that. And she said that I'm not ready to eagerly buy into something. So there is good discernment here, even if it means skepticism. And that's been something that has actually been a little bit weak in the past, in spite of my moon in Virgo nature. So getting that healthy dose of skepticism is absolutely important and a life-saving element, actually, because I've been scammed a lot in the past, and I've learned the hard way to be more healthily skeptical. Not so skeptical that you know, not so skeptical that I doubt my higher self and my intuition and that spiritual nature of myself, but skeptical in the way of questioning the motives of others. People may come off as being good, kind, and helpful people, but they may have ulterior motives, you know. And that's not to say like human nature is necessarily bad or anything, because no, it's not. I think by nature, like the base human nature is a blank slate, right? And people can go either way depending on life circumstances and their own temperament. But because that's the case, because, you know, people can kind of go either way, it's absolutely critical and essential to be questioning of other people's nature and motives. So she also said, when your emotions are triggered, though, you can definitely hurt someone with your words. Even your pen is a weapon. You know how to use them when it matters. And I agree with that. You know, I've definitely hurt people in the past, and I've learned to be a lot more careful with my words, especially in the last couple of years, and especially, you know, with my aim and my goal of being a light worker. I don't want to hurt anybody. I don't want to hurt anybody unless a rude awakening, like a wake-up call, is what is called for. Yes, I will occasionally give somebody a rude awakening, but in the, you know, the kindest, best possible way, without insulting their nature, you know. But yeah, in the past few years, I've kind of defaulted to, you know, being loving and respectful first and foremost, rather than, you know, instantly judging and instantly rendering a judgment and prematurely, and that's not cool. She also touched on my Mars being in Virgo. She says it's the planet of anger, motivation, and the S word, SEX. Even if they're not conjunct, your moon and Mars are still in Virgo, so mindfulness with communication when triggered can be a challenge, but you're good on working on that. There is also determination here, and also you have strong pet peeves and particularities. Kind of true, yeah. She also said that it differs with people with significant Virgo energy, that I may have an aversion to things related to your physical senses. Maybe certain textures or sounds really get to you. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes that is the case, but yeah, it's a once in a while thing. And she also said people with strong Virgo energy lean into jobs or careers that are related to health, community, culinary, and teaching, which I definitely have in the past, and I kind of am right now as well with YouTube. Uranus and Neptune retrograde in Sagittarius also mellows that extrovertedness. And like I've said in the past, I'm kind of on the cusp of extrovert versus introvert. Have some of both of those natures. And she said it makes you more of a homebody. And if you do go out, it can't be too far from home. It's kind of true. Once in a while, I do enjoy a good adventure. But, I do enjoy a lot of time at home and in the nearby community as well. But kind of alluding to both my third eye and my crown chakra, she's saying you'll definitely travel in the mind, most definitely. So maybe less so in the physical realm, although once in a while, like I said, I do enjoy a good travel, a good adventure, but she's kind of alluding to both mentally kind of imagining going on travels and adventures to different places, but also astrally traveling, right? Gemini and Virgo are both ruled by Mercury for me, so overthinking can happen sometimes. Unfortunately, it happens a lot for me, but I'm working on it, especially with your moon in Virgo, like she said. But yeah, these two retrogrades in Sagittarius might make you less adventurous, risk-taking, leaning more to the reversed or even traditional side of things. And she also said about me, Pluto in Libra gives you wisdom, which is obtained through relationships. Relationships and fairness are big deals to you. She also goes on to say that my Saturn is in Capricornus, or Capricorn, Saturn at home. You are most definitely a hard and diligent worker, great determination, but you also have your blue moments. Don't let the pessimistic thoughts get to you. I'm learning that the hard way, right? Once in a while it crops up and it does really get to me, but I'm now serious about pushing past that, because after all, it's on the other side of pushing past that pain and discomfort and blue moments that there is real growth. And she said that my sky map doesn't show Chiron, but mine is in Cancer. This indicates that your wound comes from feeling out of place, feeling unloved or neglected. So part of your lesson or journey here is to learn and remind yourself that true security, especially the emotional kind, comes from within. And with Capricorn as your descendant, this especially makes you desire a mate who is dependable, safe, hardworking, and practical. I felt like the first part of that, Chiron in Cancer, absolutely hits the nail on the head for me. The second part about Cancer and descendant, I mean, I guess that would be an ideal, but it's not like a deal breaker for me, as evinced by my relationships. She also said that Capricornus is also a big time homebody earth sign, so definitely this person, aka me, will very much be that. She also pointed out that I am very frugal too, almost too frugal sometimes. But she said, I think you're doing great from where you are right now in this moment. Keep going and don't be afraid to go for it. If we shy away from risks or challenges, we will never know for ourselves how much we are capable of. So she had her own little motivational pep talk on me there, and like that, I took it to heart. As thank you if you're out there, Crystal, aka Jen. And she also did a little mini reading on my partner and our relationship. She said, Aquarius is my partner's sidereal sign. Aquarius is your polar opposite. She must be pretty quirky. But important houses, ones I want to highlight, Cancer ascendant is in the first house, so it sets the tone for your chart because Gemini is in your 12th house. 12th house Gemini basically means that you will help, what will help you is keeping an open mind and learning as much as you can. Absolutely agree with that. And she said that my 10th house of career is in Aries, so do something you love, something original, perfect for management, work, or even becoming your own boss. And more on that, she said that my 12th house says that challenges and insecurities can be put to rest by acquiring knowledge. So to sum it up, I am a solar Leo according to Sidereal Astrology, but I also have the moon in Virgo. So it makes a lot of sense that I have big Virgo energy while also being a sun in Leo. It turns out Virgo has been my shadow side all along, and that's something that I've been consciously and subconsciously navigating, reconciling and trying to make peace with my whole life, but it's also an area of my life that I've been making massive strides in, especially recently. Shadow work has been a huge part of my recent spiritual awakening and journey in the past few years, but so too have I been letting in a lot more light, coming to realize my true nature and reclaiming and stepping into my authentic power. Just like with Western tropical / synodic astrology, no one person is all one thing. We are all combinations of the influences of all of our different signs, our sun sign, moon sign, rising sign, etc., all put together. And I'm no exception. As it turns out, taken holistically, the approach of Sidereal Astrology seems to make a lot more sense, and my sidereal chart seems to describe me far more accurately than the Western tropical synodic astrological take or chart. And it is because of both the intuitive and the logical sense that the sidereal chart seems to make to me anyways, and hopefully for all of you, things start adding up. So I would recommend checking out those sites, Cafe Astrology and MTZ, specifically looking up Sidereal Astrology, not Western tropical astrology. I would definitely recommend looking into it. You may learn a lot, and you may be like, man, that old conventional astrology actually doesn't really add up, and this makes a whole lot more sense. But yeah, it's because it makes a lot more sense intuitively and logically for me that I am absolutely making the switch and the shift to Sidereal Astrology. And for future readings that I plan to do, it's going to focus heavily on Sidereal Astrology, not tropical astrology. If somebody wants me to do a reading focused on tropical or Western astrology, okay, we can look into it. I'm just going to absolutely recommend Sidereal Astrology to them as well. So next, I'd like to present a brief sidereal chart breakdown on a very famous Scorpion who has recently shed his mortal coil. Ozzy Osbourne. Rest in peace, buddy. So like I alluded to, Ozzy's sun sign is Scorpio. Your sun sign shows the lens through which you view life. In Scorpio, the Scorpion, you view life through the lens of depth, seeing deeper dimensions of life, yourself, and others. On a fundamental level, you are real yet boundaried, aware of the power of the hidden realms and the concealed aspects of life. Whatever you focus on, you will likely approach with uncovering the depths, truth-seeking, and seeing the deeper side of things. This is your great gift, your ability to be real yet boundaried, bringing things to the surface and in your highest expression to be forthright and authentic. I think that actually describes Ozzy quite well. The description here seems to focus more so on the spiritual side of things, and yeah, definitely, especially with Black Sabbath, but even a few of Ozzy's songs, he did touch on the spiritual and supernatural hidden nature of life, right? It was more common for him to focus on different aspects of the material world, including the darker side of life, but that, in fact, was touched on here when you're saying you're real yet boundaried. He was definitely real and down to earth with a lot of his takes through music and through his expression through interviews and what am I trying to say? Oh, like on the Osbournes. Definitely a real down to earth father right there. But yeah, certain aspects of him were boundaried, certain aspects of him were behind, for all his huge, glamorous public image, a lot of stuff was behind the scenes. He didn't like to have it thrown out there in the public. And more on that sun sign for Ozzy. Others likely see you as penetrating, raw, and candid, and you likely express yourself in that way. I think that really describes him quite well. Moon sign. Your moon is in Sagittarius, Ozzy. Your moon sign shows that you are emotionally attuned to and your inner personality. In Sagittarius, the centaur, you are attuned to the expansiveness, attuned to the bigger picture, the abstract realms, and a higher perspective on life. On an inner and private level, you are free-spirited, although sometimes insecure about it. When you feel secure, you are open to expanding your mental and literal horizons. I think that describes him pretty well. Sort of yes, sort of no, right? So more on his moon sign in Sagittarius. You will likely approach your personal and private life with spontaneousness, inspiration, and openness. Okay, that really describes Ozzy. This is your natural gift. Your ability to be free-spirited, expand perspectives, and when feeling secure, share your perspective with others. Those close to you will likely see you as optimistic, adventurous, and purposeful, and you likely emotionally connect in this way. Ding! Like that describes Ozzy like really well, like almost to a T. Like I said, it's funny how amazingly well Sidereal Astrology describes folks when you get into the weeds. So a full breakdown of Ozzy's chart according to MTZ, it says Sun in Scorpio, Moon in Sagittarius, Mercury in Scorpio, Venus in Virgo, Mars in Sagittarius, Jupiter in Sagittarius, Saturn in Leo, Uranus in Gemini, Neptune in Virgo, Pluto in Leo, Chiron in Libra, North Node in Aries, and South Node in Virgo. So here is what Cafe Astrology had to say about Ozzy's placements. Here's the full breakdown. Technically, your sun sign is in Scorpio, according to Sidereal Astrology, and you're made up of many different combinations. Even so, your sun sign is highly influential and significant. Scorpios are known for their intensity. They are determined folk who positively throw themselves into whatever they do. But getting them to commit to something is rarely an easy ask. In fact, it's better not to even try to get them to do anything. I feel like that describes Ozzy quite well too, in both good and bad ways, because nobody could tell him to get sober, not even his own his own wife. He had to choose it for himself. You know, there were many years where he was struggling with addiction, both to alcohol and to drugs, during their marriage, and those were tumultuous years in their marriage. But eventually, he forced himself to go to rehab and came clean. Solar Scorpios undoubtedly have their own mind, and their primary motivation is unlikely to be prestige like their Capricorn friends, or even authority. Leos can have that too. It's real power. Their power can absolutely be the behind the scenes variety, just as long as they have it. As a sun sign Scorpio, you are intense and have a powerful memory. You feel things deeply, and you return your emotional memories and you retain your emotional memories longer than many. Scorpio is a water sign, and you are unusually empathetic and perceptive, picking up on the tiniest cues on emotional levels. You're able to read a person quickly and thoroughly. Scorpio is also from the fixed family, and this endows you with endurance, tenacity, and loyalty. I feel like a lot of this really describes Ozzy quite well, except for the memory part, but I put that down to more so of him dealing with drugs and alcohol in his life. Is what it is. To others, Scorpios seem to have plenty of willpower. They probably do. Scorpios do know what they want, and they won't go out and grab it at the wrong moment. They simply sit back, watch, and wait expertly, quite expertly, and then get it only when the moment is just right. This apparent patience is, in fact, their powerful strategic skill at work. Scorpio isn't afraid of getting their hands, their bodies, and their minds dirty. The darker side of life intrigues them, and they're always ready to investigate. There's Ozzy right there. With Scorpio as your sun sign, you are all in when you choose to do something. You're there for the people you love, and you're unafraid of the darker, deeper side of things. Scorpios rarely give up. They have tremendous staying power. As a Scorpio, you are not in the slightest intimidated by anyone or anything. At least that's how you come across. Confrontations are not a problem. In fact, talk to any Scorpio about their lives, and you'll probably be in awe about all that they've experienced. Upheaval, change, and intensity of experience may seem to follow them wherever they go. When a Scorpio is optimistic or learns optimism instead of expecting the worst, they'll find that they possess amazing regenerative powers, the power to heal, create, and transform. Wow, that really describes Ozzy right there. As a Scorpio, you are not a person who takes things or people and relationships lightly. And for you to be on board, you need to find personal meaning in whatever you do. You may discover that there are people who are intimidated by you since you tend to exude a particular intensity that may have some wondering and worrying about how you feel about them. Once they get to know you, however, they realize that although you have strong feelings and opinions, you are exceedingly understanding. Scorpio is known as a vengeful sign, probably due to that long memory and passionate nature mentioned above. But on the other side of the coin, they love deeply and don't give up on those they love without very good reason. Of course, learning to let go and doesn't come easily to the sign, but it's far from impossible. In fact, the sign of Scorpio rules rebirth and transformation. You are amazingly resilient, undeniably perceptive, and highly intelligent. You can be shrewd when you need to be, and you love to draw up plans and create masterpieces. You love to draw up plans and create strategies. You are extremely creative and enterprising, as well as daring and brave. Rarely pretentious, Scorpio is a sign that places tremendous value in authenticity and humility. But yeah, like all of this seems to explain Ozzy quite well, really describes him almost to a T. And of according to Sidereal Astrology and Cafe Astrology, Ozzy's rising ascendant sign is Libra. Everybody seems to like people with your Libra rising sign. You just come across as exceptionally nice, pleasant, and fair. While the condition of Venus in your chart can modify this, many of you give an easy, warm, and approachable first impression. Look a little closer at the lives of people with your ascendant. These nice people may have had quite a few problems in their relationships. Some of them may have had a string of relationships, and it can be hard to imagine why. Perhaps it's because people with Libra ascendants attract others to them effortlessly. Besides, they often don't know what to do with themselves without a significant other. Of course, not all Libra rising people are made quite the same, and some people simply come across as companionable, but are quite fine on their own. And I think this actually describes Ozzy quite well as well, because he did have, problems with his relationships, and he had some affairs and such, but like with his song, Mama, I'm Coming Home, he always came home to Sharon once he was in a committed relationship with Sharon. You might often be found smoothing everything over. You do love pleasant surroundings. You likely have a particularly charming smile, a gentle approach with others, and an easygoing image. Even those Libra ascendant natives who are not endowed with the classic good looks are attractive. You may very well pay a lot of attention to your personal appearance, the colors you wear, your hair, the way you walk. The sign of Libra aims for balance, and this can translate as special attention to balance in both your appearance and your manner. You can be enormously persuasive, although you will almost always use a soft sell approach when you want to win others over, which is all or most of the time. A tendency to pass the buck and keep up that nice guy, nice gal image can be your worst qualities. However, you can make an excellent mediator and will generally be the first to accommodate others. Peacemaking and diplomacy are powerful and necessary skills, and you have them down pat. Because Aries Libra's opposing sign is on your partnership sector or descendant, you might often find yourself attracted to competent, active partners. Absolutely true with Ozzy, with his marriage and relationship to Sharon. This can work out very well for you, as your partner can take on the role that you don't want to take on for yourself. Ozzy didn't want to be the manager. He didn't want to self-manage, but he did want to get out there and be a performer. If it does cause problems, then there are some things to consider, however. For one, this can sometimes mean that your close relationships have bickering or competitiveness as themes. Yep, that was the case. The more you learn to accept the blame rather than attempt to push it onto others, this can certainly decrease. You have a sweet image, yes, but if you over-identify with this image, which is very easy to do, this can cause some interpersonal problems. In other instances, however, you attract aggressive people into your life because you seem so malleable, and this can be toxic. You'll need to draw some boundaries. Most of the time, however, seeking out a more assertive partner works just fine for you, and much will have to do with how Mars, your ruler of Aries, is doing in your chart. You are wonderfully gracious and accommodating, making you a real asset to any group. You are remarkably skilled at negotiating and harmonizing. You are a people person, and you're always intrigued by how people interact with one another. Cooperation comes very easily to you. In fact, it's usually your first instinct. describes him pretty well, I believe. Um, Libra is an air sign, and yes, sometimes people with your ascendant can come across as airheads. However, that can simply be a first impression. You prefer to avoid direct confrontation. However, you can be quick to point out injustices. You prefer that people are treated fairly and as equals. You usually prefer that others don't experience your ups and downs or your difficult side. However, this sometimes works against you. In an effort to keep things pleasant, you may give off the impression that you're fine when you are not. As a child, you may have been typecast as the easygoing, agreeable one, and it can sometimes feel difficult to break that mold. An imbalanced, chaotic environment can be particularly challenging for you to navigate, and it can lead to quite a bit of anxiety. You will do whatever you can to balance things out. You may pay more attention than most people to sound, colors, and others' moods around you. And you can spend quite a bit of time and energy on attempts to bring things into harmony. For your own health and well-being, you can benefit from taking extra time to yourself, learning what it is that you need and want, as you may too often confuse others' needs and wants with your own. If you end up going along with others so that you can keep the peace, you may be doing yourself a disservice at times. You truly understand others, and this makes it very comfortable to be around you, particularly if in one-to-one setups. You make a good counselor. Design, marketing, the law and art are well starred for you. You love orderliness and beautiful things and surroundings. A lot of this really describes Ozzy quite well, and when it said like design and art are well starred for you, I mean, he was a musician, so there you go. And Ozzy's moon was in Sagittarius. More than anything, you need personal freedom and space. You are extraordinarily happy and easygoing as long as you don't feel too caged in or cooped up. With your moon in the sign of Sagittarius, you have a simultaneous need for activity. Meeting new people, going out in the world, and travel are all essential to your sense of well-being. You love open spaces and, in your home, a roomy, light, and bright environment. I feel like all of that really describes Ozzy quite well. There's a bit of a teacher in you and definitely a helpful spirit. You quickly forget appointments and the like, and some with this moon position are even considered irresponsible. However, it's hard to stay angry at a lunar Sagittarius. You are extraordinarily cheerful and upbeat, and your optimism is catchy. Many people with this position are outdoorsy types. At the very least, you have a great deal of love for changes of scenery and some disdain for the regular routine. You also enjoy friendly competition. You want to feel that you can grow and improve on an emotional level, and if you feel stifled in this respect, you're sure to get very antsy. You seek out knowledge, that's true, but also experience. There's a great big world outside, and you're always aware of this fact. Does that not describe Ozzy very well, quite to a T? When the going gets tough, you have a great need to run away. It's not that you're scared. In fact, you're a courageous person. However, you don't like to be caught up in the routine for too long, and you simply need to escape situations that confine you. If you'll be back when you feel refreshed and your spirit is renewed. You also tend to skim the surface when it comes to feelings. You may prefer to avoid emotional intensity if it seems to drag you down. You're capable of becoming all fired up about ideas and situations, but you're disinclined to dwell on them or genuinely explore the depth. Or genuinely explore the depth of your feelings or others complicated emotions unless your moon is connected solidly to the 8th house of Pluto. There's a blind faith in lunar Sagittarians that is admirable. You simply believe that everything will work out. You may feel that you have a guardian angel or powerful intuition that guides you. Not much for making detailed plans, you prefer to wing it. This can at times be disconcerting to those who are just not as free-spirited as you and who prefer a bit of a heads up. You are very adaptable and generally on the go. You're also hungry for knowledge, new experiences, and mind-expanding ideas. You're a great lover of the truth, and you'd make a wonderful, inspiring teacher. You're warm and inspiring and spontaneous, and you're quick to jump in when others are still thinking about it. I mean, I think all of this absolutely describes Ozzy quite well. At least most of it does. A little bit misses the mark, but most of it really describes him quite well. So Cafe Astrology goes on to say that his north node is in Aries. Codependency, indecisiveness, and a tendency for problems in one-to-one relationships can be key issues you deal with in your lifetime. You are learning to love yourself, trust your instincts, and lead without fear. Watch for a tendency to fall back on codependent relationships due to fear of independence and of standing alone. Until you deal with these issues, you may struggle with some indecision, and you may avoid expressing your independent wishes and asserting yourself because you prefer the comfort of being considered a good person. Learning to act on your impulses, which implies a certain amount of self-confidence, is an empowering lesson to North Node in Aries. Learning that you can, in fact, live alone, which is a big fear of this position, will bring you to a point where you can offer yourself to others in a one-to-one relationship or partnership in a more balanced, healthy manner. Striving for internal peace rather than focusing on achieving harmony and balance in relationships will improve your relationships and bring you happiness and satisfaction. And Ozzy's part of fortune was in Virgo. You can find that success comes more readily for you when you attend to the details. Use your considerable analytical powers and help others. Your ability to find the flaws of a plan is excellent. You might also have special technical abilities. In fact, you find joy through your attention to detail. Attention to your health or organizing your environment can also be areas or skills of enjoyment, and you may share with others for your benefit. Some of that's true and some of that's not, right? I feel like the first half of that really did describe Ozzy quite well. He could recognize when the sound was off on certain things, when he didn't like how things were sounding, and he would end up tweaking things till it was the magical, masterpiece that it ended up being. And Ozzy's midheaven is in Leo. You need to feel in charge of your destiny. You are a natural manager or leader. A lot of heart and personality go into your career, responsibilities, reputation, or life path goals. Your ego is strongly involved. With a fixed sign midheaven, you don't take a path or career lightly, and you don't readily jump onto or off a track. You do things with extra flair or drama. Yes. You're proud, and the image you project is something you need to feel not only good, but also great about. Whatever you feel on the inside, you project an image of confidence to the public. You prefer to be the boss, or at the very least dictate your own direction. You stand out rather than blend in. In fact, you shine in what you do, and you make a strong personal mark in your field. Hello, that's Ozzy right there. You can be skilled at self-promotion, but you also project such a warm, strong image that others gravitate to you. that others gravitate to you and want to promote you as well, like Sharon. You can also be quite organized, and when it comes to planning and long-term objectives. With your career, you're determined, persistent, honorable, competitive, and passionate. Often feeling like you are on stage, you enjoy performing and gaining recognition. You also expect a lot from yourself, and you want the best, and you want to do the best in your chosen field. Once in a position, ideally an important one, you are exceedingly loyal and committed. You might see your parents or caregivers as especially strong personalities, with one far more outgoing and personal than the other. Now, I feel like that final remark, I'm not sure. I don't really know too much about Ozzy's parents, but the rest of that just hits the nail on the head for who Ozzy was in his life. And apparently Ozzy's Chiron was in his second house. With Chiron in your second house, the importance of attending carefully to your resources, money, talents, and self-worth cannot be understated. The need to create a safe, sound, and comfortable world for yourself and your loved ones is a powerful one. However, you're not always in touch with this fundamental desire. Learning to connect with it, to truly understand it, is not just important work in your life, it's empowering. Something in your early experiences made you feel guilty about enjoying material things and comforts or pleasures in general. In your head, you know you're entitled to spoil yourself from time to time, but it's hard to convince yourself of this deep down. You're incredible at helping others understand that they are worth it, however. I feel like that kind of describes Ozzy as well. He came from a hard working class background and, was used to having to deal with modest means, but then he comes into this life of fame and wealth and extravagance, and that probably was a bit hard for him to reconcile, because he may have felt that like, oh, I'm not worthy, but he was a very humble person for all his fame, and I think he knew inevitably, especially in the later years, he knew he was in fact worthy, but at the same time he was just very humble about it. So that's going to do it for my summary of Ozzy's chart. Again, rest in peace, Ozzy. Finally, I'd like to share some remarks on the powerful recent and soon upcoming astrological and numerological events and happenings while we're on the subject. First off, we have the new moon in Virgo that just happened about a week ago. The new moon in Virgo signified a powerful time for intentional beginnings focused on grounding, healing, service, and refining one's daily practices, health, and routines. It encourages authenticity and personal transformation and the courage to step into one's authentic self, setting realistic step-by-step intentions to manifest lasting change. The energy calls for simplifying, decluttering, and bringing order to chaos, allowing one to serve with integrity and humility while embracing imperfections as a continuous path of growth. And next we have the 8-8 Lionsgate portal. The 8-8 Lionsgate portal is in fact significant as it represented a powerful alignment of celestial bodies, particularly the star Sirius, the Sun in Leo, and the Earth. Some viewers may disagree, but calling this time the Lionsgate portal is also a bit of a misnomer, at least according to Sidereal Astrology, which I subscribe to. Leo didn't fully come to the forefront until August 21st to August 22nd, roundabouts that time, according to Sidereal Astrology. But there was a new moon in Leo just over a week before the 8-8 portal opened. Either way, this alignment is transformative. This alignment is believed to enhance manifestation opportunities, allowing individuals to set intentions and embrace transformative changes in their lives. These energies peak annually on August 8th. The number 8 holds deep spiritual meaning, representing infinity, balance, and abundance. The double occurrence of the number 8 on August 8th and a couple more times in August amplified these energies, creating a more powerful gateway for transformation and manifestation. And according to my intuition and numerology, the 8-8 portal, well, it's pretty much wrapped up now at this point, but it was wide open for most of August. And it will have energetic ripples that move through time and space from here on. Now let's talk about the 789 portal. The 789 portal is a lesser known but highly energetic portal, and it was also activated in August. Angel number 789 is a sign from the universe to follow your spiritual path with determination and optimism, to embrace new opportunities fearlessly, knowing that they align with your soul's purpose. Trust your intuition and guidance, the guidance of your angels as you navigate through life's changes. 789 indicates that guardian angels approve of your choices and decisions, along with congratulating you for accomplishing your goals. It signifies that you are about to embark on an enlightening and productive journey. Moreover, its inverse, 987, is a prime number and is also an angel number with a related and similarly powerful message. Angel number 987 brings a message about your lifestyle and career choices and prompts you towards fulfilling your true soul's duty. If you have been feeling unclear or unfocused about your true life's purpose, seeing angel number 987 tells you to listen to your intuition and follow its guidance. Put your inner wisdom and knowledge into all that you do, as it is time to steer your life and career towards a spiritually based practice and or profession, heart-based service, project, or venture. The angels guide, encourage, and support you as you focus on your life's purpose as a light worker. And I truly do feel that this 789 portal, this was the real turning point and the real activation portal for the beginning of the manifestation and creation of a new earth, and the activation of light workers to claim and step into their authentic power and truth and embody their gifts and share them with the world in order to make a new earth and a better world for all sentient beings possible. This 789 portal came in silently but subtly shifted the energy in ways perceptible to those already in tune. It will take all of us following our unique spiritual path and life's journey and living our authentic lives and living them to the fullest. But yes, it is possible. And coming soon, we have the lunar eclipse and full moon in Pisces. The lunar eclipse full moon in Pisces is a powerful time for emotional release and spiritual awakening, encouraging individuals to confront hidden feelings and let go of what no longer serves them. This celestial event promotes deep transformation and connecting to intuition, making it an ideal moment for healing and renewal. And I have more to say on this, in a very soon upcoming video. Also coming soon is the 999 portal on September 9th. So more to come on this also in a soon upcoming video. But here is some information on the angel number 999 and what energies to expect in this upcoming portal. In the context of angel numbers, 999 signifies completion, new beginnings, and a call to embrace change and trust the universe's guidance. It suggests a time for reflection, letting go of the past, and preparing for fresh opportunities. So, getting into more detail, 999 signifies completion and closure. The number, and therefore The number 9, and therefore 999, is often associated with endings and the completion of cycles or phases in life. New beginnings. Seeing 999 can be a sign that a new chapter is about to unfold, filled with fresh possibilities and opportunities. Embracing change. 999 encourages you to be open to change and to trust that the universe is guiding you towards your highest good. Letting go, and that's really interesting because this comes very quickly, very soon after the lunar eclipse and full moon in Pisces. Letting go, it suggests letting go of old patterns, beliefs, or relationships that no longer serve you, making way for something new. Reflection and growth. This angel number can be a call to reflect on your journey, identify areas of growth, and align your actions with your soul's purpose. Trust the process. Trust that everything is unfolding as it should, even if it feels uncertain or challenging. And finally, in September, we have the solar eclipse and new moon in Virgo. This phase of the moon occurs at 29 degrees and 5 minutes of Virgo. In the last degree of the sign, there's an urgency to our new beginnings. This eclipse opposes Saturn and Neptune and harmonizes with Uranus and Pluto. Our responsibilities to others, our emotional health, and our need for downtime can weigh us down. It can be difficult to pull ourselves away, but we have the tools to make the changes we now realize are necessary for growth. In the sign of Virgo, work and health matters can be a major focus on a personal level in the months following this eclipse. This lunation is about new beginnings regarding work, attention to details, fitness, health regimes, and daily routines. It's time to build our powers of healthy, constructive discrimination, learning to be more proactive, start a new health and fitness routine, set up specific routines that will help us manage our lives in positive, mindful ways, and learn the power of now and of mindfulness. We can learn to master the little details of our day-to-day lives in a more organized manner so that we can free our minds of clutter. For some of us, circumstances are such that we need to pay more attention to our work and health routines. Flaws in an important system in our lives are revealed around the time of the eclipse, prompting us to redo or start fresh. We may find ourselves completely reworking this area of our life. Something ends in order for something else to start anew. We may be called to give up something in order to move forward into a new chapter of our lives. Although the new may be unrecognizable, it is important to allow the necessary surrender to the unknown. And I will have more to come on this later this September. And with all that being said, I'd like to bid you adieu. I hope you learned so much from this, and I hope you have been inspired to take a closer, deeper look into Sidereal Astrology if you haven't already. The revelations that I've come across with Sidereal Astrology have been absolutely radical and life-changing for me, and have really put things into perspective in my life, and it just seems to make a lot more sense intuitively and logically to me than the Western the Western tropical or synodic astrological perspective. You know, this perspective actually follows the stars in real time with where they were at the time of your birth and where they are now. And, you know, I hope y'all learned a lot, and I hope, you feel inspired to take a deeper dive into the world of astrology in general, but specifically Sidereal Astrology. And if you've made it to the end of this video, I thank you so much. You're a real one. Thank you so much for sticking through this long but deep dive type of video with me. So much thanks and so much love to you all. And with so much peace, light, and love being sent your way, and so much gratitude, thank you, thank you, thank you for tuning in. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening. Namaste. Blessed be everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.